So here we are talking all things Meba. Look who I'm joined by today, guys. How was the award show?
Absolutely incredible. Exceeded my expectations dramatically. I'd obviously never been in the Burj, so for me coming to Dubai is just an incredible experience to take all of that in. But we'll obviously break down specifically what happened more at the event. But a very successful launch, I would say, for Humane, which was sort of the hidden agenda, I think we'll say. And perhaps you guys could talk a bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, we've been working on it for a long while, and it's been something that a lot of the team members have been really excited about. So yeah, we kind of prepared ourselves, put our best foot forward, and announced it. And again, the reception was exactly as we were expecting it to be.
Yeah, it was one of the reasons we actually did Meba again. We did it in Abu Dhabi a few years ago with Finance Week with ADGM. It was a great success. We had some really good people there. And then, Humane was obviously the star of the show. The key for me was to look at the marketing strategy behind what we were doing. And we could have just done a simple launch party and so on. So we wanted to be a little bit more creative, and we wanted to do something different, and that's what we did. So we decided to do the first ever award show completely created from AI, Humane Studios. So that was our big bang for people to see what we were going to do and what we're going to do in the future.
That's incredible, because I don't think people even realised in the lead up that this was even happening. That's how AI works. People don't even realise the integration which is happening. It just becomes part of what we're doing in the industry.
Well, I guess that's the reason for AI. It becomes a part of everyday life, and how we integrate that in the right way so it doesn't take over and humans are still in charge for now. I think that's very important, and the reason why we created Humane was because I saw a gap. When my designers were using AI and trying to put the right intentions in there, it was difficult, and the right things weren't coming out. So we had to think differently. So I sat down with a couple of friends to advise me how to move this forward. So that's how we came out with Humane, where you have the AI element, but the human's still in charge. So when you want what you want with that human touch, that's what Humane does. I mean, we can talk more about what Humane does. I mean, Scott was in the background turning the wheels and is one of the co-founders of Humane. He didn't tell anybody, we didn't announce it. So it was very exciting for me for him to come join the team and also, create this PR hype behind it and get everybody excited.
It's just such an interesting, unique time right now. And I think you highlighted it, which is that everybody wants to use AI. Everybody's becoming familiar with it. As fast as it's moving, we're still sort of in the early days and iterations, and it requires a human touch. Even if it's a light human touch at the end of the day, to give brands like OKX or LVMH, Audi, these huge kind of clients are not going to just go entirely to AI and hope that they get the result that they're looking for. So you still have to have the same professional designer at the end of the day who looks at it through the proper lens, make sure it's on brand, make sure it's exactly what the client wants to deliver that. But you can abstract away the other 30 people who may have been a part of that process before.
100%.
Right?
I think 90% of the general public really don't understand AI. And when I sat down with guys like this, well, I think Harry's one of the simpler, one of the people that really break down AI and technical aspects of any project into layman's terms. And when your normal Joe like me, somebody who's creative wants something out of AI, we just get frustrated and we go, no, I'm just going to go talk to my designer. I think that's 90% of the public. Okay, let me try this AI. You go onto other AIs and you go, oh, it's nothing like what I wanted. I think the beauty about Humane is you can actually talk to your designer. You can actually talk to a human. No, I don't want that logo there. I want it there. No, I don't want that shade. I want this shade. I think that's the beauty about Humane, and that's the connectivity. And this is the reason why it's going to take mass adoption, because of its simplicity.
I think also at the end of the day, there's a creative and artistic touch that even if the AI gets it right, you still have to have a human to
100%.
look at it through that lens and make sure that it's exactly what you're trying to deliver. Like, for one, I'm horrible at judging whether the image I got is actually what I want. That's not what I do. That's not what I'm good at. And so I've, on so many occasions in the past, when I was first messing with AI, delivered something and then had people on my team or my wife come back and say, "That, like, what is this image? It's terrible. Like, well, this is so off-brand. Why'd you do that?" And I said, "I'm 48 years old and I have no idea what's cool, I guess." Right? I thought it was good.
It's what we identified, really. I mean, I think we're always going to need that creative expert, that creative professional that's sitting at the driver's seat. I think that's what we really identified. And I've been playing around with AI for a long time. And that's what I noticed too. If you're an expert, if you understand what you're looking for, and if you have that eye, then you can use the tool to really accelerate your workflow. And that's what we're doing with Humane Assets. Is we're really trying to condense that and empower the creatives that we put in the driver's seat to really accelerate using the tools, using the latest and greatest that's out there, and kind of building that into a workflow that works. So we're really excited. We've been using it internally, and it's been delivering very impressive results. So I think that's where a lot of companies are really going to land in the way they use AI. You're still going to need that creative expert at the driver's seat. I don't think it's going to get to the point where any layman can just plug something in and get an impressive result.
I agree, because at the end of the day, what are they don't know what an impressive result is.
Exactly.
You still need somebody who knows what that final product is supposed to be.
I think one thing we realized, I was talking to a friend called, you might know Daniel Ashram, very, very well-known artist, genius when it comes to, creating, sculpting. I love this guy, right? And I was on a call with him and he was saying, the issue is AI, you can just tell AI is AI.
Yeah.
Whenever you get an image, there's always something wrong, or there's that angle. Okay, it's AI. He goes, it needs a human touch. So he was very excited to hear what we were doing. He goes, if you guys get that right, which we have, it's going to take mass adoption.
I posted a photo once that had 6 fingers on someone's hand. Like, I didn't notice it had 6 fingers on someone's hand, but I don't have the eye.
Right.
I mean, I'm not judging people with 6 fingers. That exists.
It does happen.
And the beauty about what we've done, it's not like we're going to start doing it. We've been doing it for the last year.
Yeah.
All our clients have been getting products from Humane Studios. Everything that we generate is from Humane. So our team in the background basically have been generating everything from AI, but then adding the human elements into it. So it looks like it's the right piece of artwork and creative and content that they want.
I think that's a real mark for success, is when the client or the end user doesn't know that it's AI generated. Like, if you look online now, a lot of people are starting to develop an eye for it. They can say, "Oh, this is AI generated. This is AI slop. This is very mediocre." Or it's got the telltale signs that it's AI generated. But if the real marker for success is if we can launch something or publish something that no one can tell. They can say, "Look, this looks handmade."
But also, I also think it's evolution. When we first saw black and white TVs, I'm sure none of you guys saw black and white TVs.
No.
I'm just showing my age. But when people first saw black and white TVs, and then they went to color, when they saw color, they were like, "Oh my God, this looks weird. I'm not used to it." But we all adapt, and all of a sudden, you wouldn't go anywhere without color. I think the future is going to be, we're not going to go anywhere with AI. Mm-hmm. When you look at an old image and you'll be like, that doesn't really look that good. Can we just do it in AI, please? I think that's going to be the future. Maybe we don't want it, but it's just evolution in my eyes.
Can I ask you a question?
Go for it, yeah.
Did we surprise you as well by you showing up to host this and not knowing that it was all AI generated?
For sure. You guys, as you said, it was seamless. Like, I didn't realize that the AI integration, I think we have gone past some days where it's like, oh, that's good for AI. It's now like, wow, you used
just
AI. That was part. Wow, Jesus! Like, but we still had that human element as being hosts as well. It's so important to bring that element to the stage, but also behind it all, the AI can be there to support it and make our lives ultimately easier as well. That we maybe don't need to create as much content before an event. We're both busy people. It's difficult sometimes when someone's like, "Can you post this? Can you take this picture?" Scripting, all these different things that AI is important for, makes our jobs actually easier so that we can be more creative on stage and just be ourselves and have fun. So I think that's what Miba really showed, is that we then have that creative power, and it makes the event just so much fun and free because AI is there supporting it, but it's not taking over.
No, I think what we're there for is workflow. You know, when somebody's traveling, all of a sudden there's a gap in the office. Who do you give it to? Somebody's sick. Who do you give it to? You know, it's not that complicated to do this. Could I just give it to somebody to do? And I can focus on something else. When you only have one designer in your office, and a lot of entrepreneurs and startups and other companies only have one to do designers, all of a sudden we've just opened them up right now to 25 to 30 designers, video content creators, and so on. In the future, when Humane takes the next step, when content creators from around the world can just log on, and that's the whole point of what we're doing with Humane. We want to make it the Uber of design. You can just basically log on from anywhere in the world. People can check your profile. They can just scroll on the content feed. Oh, I like that. Who did that? You click on it. Oh, I like his style. I like his other products. I'm going to use him. And then the person just does the creative and gets paid, and we get our small percentage, and we're going to do that globally.
I mean, if it means I don't have to put makeup on in the morning and I can just turn up and do a podcast like this, that sounds wonderful. If my AI could actually, at points, I mean, sometimes I need to be presentable, but imagine like the more content you could create.
Yeah,
completely understand. I use a lot of makeup myself.
Me too.
That was last
I'm a
night,
little
guys.
shiny
You know how long
right
it
now.
took me to put this beard on?
That's why I have
He's
it.
AI, actually. That's not a real beard.
Yeah, that's why we have beards, to avoid the makeup.
Yeah, there you go.
Doesn't do anything for our foreheads.
That's
Yeah.
true.
I'm sorry.
Oh, my
Your
entire
beard.
head.
Oh, that's why I've got the turban. So, yeah, it's very interesting, and how AI is really getting involved in every day-to-day activity that we do, especially in the business environment. And that's key for people to understand how this can help you and take a lot of time from minuscule jobs that you don't really need to do to tasks that you really need to focus on. And that's what we've created this for. The studio is there for that. It's for your everyday user that just wants to have some fun, wants to put something up on their Instagram and so on, create a funny video, send to their friends. And then we have Humane Studios, where you can really, really say, right, we want to take you guys on, and we want this many designers working on this project, and really get into, detailed work.
Yeah, and I guess it's also going to be revolutionizing the event space as well. I think you've proven that with Miba, but can you see other events now following that footsteps?
I think so. I think once you have the template and you have the right prompting, all of a sudden you can just put whatever you want in and say, right, I want to take this out. I want to put this guy's face in there. I like the color of the screen. Can you change the color of the text? Make it my text. And I would just want the same profiles and so on, and just put in the content that you really need, as in like the copyright that you want.
But it also for logistics, right? I mean, for breaking down all the tasks that need to be done and who needs to do them. And it's just incredible. I mean, it's not even for just the images and the creative. It can literally break down every single thing that you need to do to pull off a successful event.
I think AI is going to be, we can see what's happening with AI. I think this is going to be another added value from AI that's going to really help people in their day-to-day workflow and life in general. We can spend more time on the things we like doing and less time on the things that we don't like doing.
I mean, at the end of the day, we just want to get we want to get the work done. We want to get out the mundane or the boring tasks, and then focus on the actual creative work, or the actual part that's going to make a difference, that requires your expertise in whatever you're doing. I think eliminating the mundane aspect is key. And I think it's going to affect everybody's life, regardless of whether you want to use it or not, if you want to embrace AI or not. I think we're kind of slotting into that missing piece that I think people are intuitively understanding, but we've kind of labeled it and addressed it with the workflow that we're speaking of. And the potential is crazy for this. It can really scale with your business, but not just your business. It can kind of scale with the requirements of entire industries, entire areas of work. So we're very excited. I mean, the sky's the limit here.
Yeah, I definitely see. I think even for like small businesses, as you're saying, are looking to scale, if they don't have a large marketing team, but they need someone to put together a massive schedule and find the right influencers to reach out to and decide what content should be produced. All of this could be done by AI. Rather than them hiring a team, they can actually reduce that workload and help to their business to succeed at a much faster rate than it would have previously.
I think it's just we're at the cusp of something brand new, where a much smaller team or even a solopreneur or someone that's just trying to tackle something on their own now has an army of designers and creatives and skilled professionals at their beck and call. And again, what we're doing with Humane Assets is really making that affordable, making it reliable, making it dependable, and it's basically your partner, your secret weapon, really.
Amazing. So Scott, for the people out there that's wondering what is Humane, what would you tell them? How simple is it to use? Why is it revolutionizing the AI space?
Well, it's extremely simple, and that's perfect because I'm a simpleton and need as much help as I can get to get through AI. Very, very simple. If you're a brand or a normal person and you need assets, you can go do video. You could do photography or images, and of course, copyright. You get all of the benefit of what you would expect with a ChatGPT or another AI, but with the human touch that's so essential to make sure that you get the asset right. You simply go to the site, enter exactly what you want, exactly what your budget is, and very, very quickly, you get a response with the asset that you want, but it's been done by a human who's an expert in utilizing AI to get it done. And then you don't have to go through the constant workflow of getting things wrong with the AI doing it yourself. You just say to them, like you would with a normal design studio, hey, this logo's in the wrong place. This color's slightly off. We need the text to be a different font. They deliver it right back to you exactly how you want it. So it's being generated by AI, but you still have a creative professional making sure that it's exactly what you want, that it's up to the highest possible quality that you would see with an LVMH or an Audi or an OKX. So we're talking about the average person or the average company getting the same high quality output as the biggest brands literally in the world and doing it quickly and cost effectively.
So you just don't keep going round and round, getting frustrated with your AI. This actually is a tool which makes it simple for people.
And you don't have to trust yourself to make that final perfect design decision because that's not your job.
Yeah.
You might just be a podcaster or a brand leader or a CEO. You need that human touch, that professional designer that's a part of Humane to say, this is the perfect image. Mm-hmm. I do not have the eye for that personally, but I trust that Humane's designers know exactly what I need and that I can go through that process with them. And I can't express enough. You're talking about a matter of minutes instead of a matter of potentially weeks or months with a professional design studio. If you've ever gone to an advertising agency and said, here's my brief, see you in 6 months.
What we're going to do a research study, which is going to take us 3 months. And then we're going to come back to you. And then we're going to say, right, this is the budget. This is what it's going to cost. Oh, by the way, there's an invoice for $340,000 for the research study we did for your project. And now we're going to make your logo. And that's what happens.
Yeah.
Literally.
And we're just getting rid of the fuss.
You can do this now for,
pretty much.
Here's $100.
And
I need a logo.
I'd love to emphasize on what you said. We're not designers. We're entrepreneurs, right? We're podcasters. We are creative, but we're creative in our own way. But when you have a designer sitting there and he can say, well, no, that's not the right formula to use. No, it's off. You can't do it this way. You have to do it this way. That human touch is always going to be a human touch. And a designer is always going to be a designer and is going to guide you in the right way. So it's actually even better. You get the designer and you get the AI and you get the speed. So that's the reason why we created it, because I was having problems with our company workflow. You know, when you've got 4 people asking for the same thing, it's impossible. Now what we do is every department head puts it in our aggregator, and it goes to the relevant person, and that person spits it out, and nobody else is involved. Otherwise, you have to go to the CMO, go, hey, CMO, I need this thing. 1 second, he's doing this project. That's what causes the problems in big corporations, and that's what we basically don't have anymore. We don't have that backlog, and we have a creative flow.
Yeah, this allows you to outsource literally all creative, entire departments as a single entrepreneur or a small business. Send it all into Humane, you get exactly what you want, and you don't need to staff up 20 or 30 creatives to waste your time and money.
And it's also easier because you can do it whenever you want. You know, if you're in between meetings, right, I'll go back on my phone. No, it's out the way. Turn it. A human, you can't do that because they're not online. We'll always have people online 24/7. So you won't have that problem of having to work around the designer's time. You work around your own time. And that's the beauty of Humane.
But there's still that human touch in there as well.
There will
which
always
is-
be a human touch because that's the whole idea of having the whole project.
I really don't believe we get to a point where you don't need that human touch at the end of the day, even if it's just to give the sign off, even just to use that eye, even if, as you said, just to say, wow, maybe this logo would be better on the right for the way that the human eye looks at an image.
exactly.
Those are things I'm never going to understand, no matter how many prompts I give or no matter how much AI tells me.
That's the thing with AI tools is they kind of come up with an average.
Yeah.
And if what we kind of get used to are the averages, and what we notice, what draws our attention is the thing that's not average. That's something unique or different, and that's where the human touch is always going to be needed. I really can't foresee a future where AI is completely taken over all creative work. I really can't see that happening. Not for a long time.
Unless we go full Terminator Skynet.
At that point, we have bigger problems.
I think that humanity really needs to think twice before we let machines control us too much. You know, we have to have a limit, and that human element always has to be there. I think we have to draw a line sometimes, and we're not trying to not employ people. And that's one thing I want to highlight there. Humane is actually employing people. We're not cutting people out. We're actually giving them a way of working and being more efficient in their day-to-day workflow. It's very important. You know, we're not doing what other big corporations are doing and just not putting people at checkouts, not putting people at check-ins at airports, you know, and your average person doesn't understand what's going on. Actually, I was in Zara the other day with my wife, and they've got these great AI things. And I was talking to the guy, and I was annoyed because it wasn't a human. And I left the hangers on the actual glass piece where you have to scan. And the guy looked at me. I went, "Do you know why I'm doing that? I'm doing it because I'm annoyed because it's taking people's jobs. You understand? You're just standing there doing nothing and not taking this payment. You're redundant." He's like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, there you go. Even when you go to restaurants, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you can just scan that and you can pay your bill there. I went, well, great. I don't have to give you a tip now because there's no human interaction.
Yeah.
Do you know that's actually the future of your job going? We have to have a balance where we need human labor involved in things. Otherwise, we're going to become redundant as a species.
Yeah, I think that's
It's
a really important thing.
extreme, but yes, but it's the truth.
It's moving into the future without compromising what we already have, which is human interaction. We learned so much over COVID that we need people, we need that interaction. So that's why there's something like this is great.
I think it's a problem that governments need to address. What are you going to do with all the people that are sitting at home? Because they haven't got jobs, because big corporates have taken over and made everybody redundant. You know, now, how many people did you used to have at check-ins? You know, when you go to the budget airlines now, there's one person controlling 25 check-ins.
Yeah, did you check in online? Because if you didn't, you're basically not getting
you're in
on.
trouble.
Something to think about, guys. It's about, aggregating the right way and making sure we have that humane touch.
Yeah, it's very true. And I think everyone talks about policing AI, but actually it's a responsibility of people that are creating businesses with AI to ensure that it does have the human touch, that we're not relying overly on technology. There still is this intermediate.
The impact on the creator side of this, when we talk about the creative professionals that are kind of powering the engine behind Humane Assets, is we're creating a gig economy for them as well, which is very, very exciting.
We're actually empowering them. We're giving them their own time Yeah, they can do it whenever they want, when they want, wherever they want. They don't have to sit in an office. They can just crack on with their work. They log on when they want and log off when they want. It's very simple.
Wow, amazing. Thanks so much, guys, for having this conversation. I didn't know yesterday what Humane was, but being part of the awards and talking to you guys has been so special. So I'm excited to see what's to come. Thanks, guys.
Make sure you sign up.
I will be, for sure. I can replicate myself.
Thank you.